Welcome into Wise Up TV, everyone. Hope you guys have been well. Welcome into the club rooms, where this evening we are breaking down everything from the weekend that was, especially the game against the Bulldogs and all the latest news around Warriors at this HQ at this time. Welcome in everyone that is slowly trickling in. As you enter the door, could you please take your shoes off and give us a like? We appreciate that. And subscribe if you are new. We're on the road to 3K. We're about 100, maybe 90 subscribers away. So if you want to help us get to that goal of 3K, which I think we can get within the next 3 to 4 weeks, maybe before the regular season ends, please help us do so. We do appreciate you guys. This is a members only evening where everyone in the chat only has access if you are a member of Wise Up TV. If you would like to become a member and join the chat where I answer your questions, please, you can join by going to your desktop, clicking on the channel and pressing join. There are two options there, reserve grader and first grader. Both options get you into this chat tonight. Otherwise, there are more benefits to the first grader package, but we welcome everyone in the door this evening. Welcome into Team Meki, a regular, Hosea, our moderator, and Team Making asking for those directions to Adam G's house. Thank you very much. To be fair, it all fell apart once TMM got knocked out. I think if he had stayed on the field, the game is close. We're going to get into a lot of that very shortly. I want to just start off. I'll do my little spiel, and then I'll let everyone hit the chat and get to their questions and their thoughts. Look, for me, watching the game back, I watched most of the first half. Actually, watched all the first half and the second half. I want to do a bit more after this. Watch the second to see if there's anything else I can get it from. But what I gathered from it, firstly, I want to acknowledge the Bulldogs' game plan. I thought they had a great game plan, kicking early and kicking along. That Burton and Galvin kicking range, absolutely crazy range. The velocity of Burton's kicks, you'll see the ball get out of his foot, and then you'll see it halfway up the field within a split second. The volume, the velocity he can get on his kicks is crazy. I definitely think if he had another career, he could have been an NFL punter for sure. He can really kick the ball, and that was impactful. The third tackle, once you saw that starting to happen, it was like, oh, they really think they can get out our back five. They really think they can limit our meters. They can turn us around in the wet. They did that. Their line speed was impeccable, sometimes too quick, should I say. But they had a clear game plan where they would know where to hit certain parts of our build-up. They know where the one out from the ruck hits were coming from Dallin, from RTS, and they nullified a lot of that. So credit to them. The short kicking game was on point. Galvin hit the kicks in goal, the repeat sets, and then they broke us down bit by bit. But they backed it off their defense and their kicking game. So that we'll start with that, guys. I'll just quickly get to the chat right now. Starting Healy, Elastic over Healy has me scratching my head. I'll get to that shortly. Mr. Inspector, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're all right. Yeah, it's actually getting a little bit warmer. I don't know where you guys are in Hamilton. It's feeling just a tad bit warmer. We were saying that the gas tank. Sorry, I think YouTube has got the tags on your names, so it must be isn't recognizing your guys' actual names. Weird. I think that's a YouTube thing. I think I've seen it other content creators actually say that this has been happening. So we'll get to read out your handles anyway. Chair the Inspector. It is a bit cold. Yeah, maybe in Hamilton it's a little bit warmer here. Hey, Carl, good to see you, my man. Kia ora Wasters. Welcome in, brother. Kia ora, kia ora. Nara boy. I'm not sure who that might be. Anyway, you're all channel members. So nice. Good to see you. Tahi, good to see you, my friend. I wanted to see Healy and Lussick doing a lot from dummy half runs. Felt they might have kept the Bulldogs honest around the ruck. We'll talk about that too. I wanted to talk about as well, just defensively, I'll do this, then I'll do the referee. We just look all over the place in the middle. Specifically, I noticed Lusick with Marata, with Ford, and Fish. That whole unit, that first starting unit of forwards, just really had no. They started decent, but then the drop off was real quick. Bulldogs had a really good plan to target the A and B defenders. G was too trigger happy on the 68, as he always has been. I've said that all year. He's a trigger happy fiend. Every time you see a G unit game, you know it's going to be 6 again, 6 again, 6 again. But apart from that, I was really disappointed. The quality and drop off is a little bit too much now. You've lost Barnett. We've got other guys injured. Egan's out. The drop off between that level is quite evident, and I just don't think we have that control of the middle. The lateral movements from Marata and the likes are slow at times, or a majority of the time. The contact at the ruck is poor. Going back to the attack, as we usually play with a ball playing lock, the person that the ball playing lock is passing to isn't a great lead runner. For example, you're setting up a shape on the goal line. You then give it to Jackson Ford as a lead runner. It takes him about 5 seconds to get up off the ground to untangle. Now, you can say that's probably Bulldogs really lying on the ruck, and most teams have been doing that against us, and I don't know why the refs haven't addressed it if we're not dominant enough, but there's not clean play of the balls. It's very, very slow. It's very predictable at the moment. So those are some of the issues in the forwards, right, that I'm thinking is just right now. Warmer weather. It is absolutely needed. Kia ora gang. Welcome in, Jazz. Sean, welcome in, my friend. Did coaching error cost us a victory? Boys kicking game in the wet, CNK's carry in the wet would have helped us versus Tane's strength of evasiveness, which wasn't relevant in the weekend. I think it was going to be an hour either way, Luke. Sure, those would have been mitigating factors, but this is one of the conclusions I've made, and I might be proven wrong, but no Egan, no win. And that goes not just for, I think that goes majority for our attacking shape. We're struggling for points right now. And I think he's so pivotal to what we do. He's like another half on the field. And if he's not on there, that doesn't help either. But yeah, you probably could have manufactured a better kicking game for that. Sure, Boyd would have had that kicking game. We could have defended a bit better. Sure, CNK actually would have been better maybe in this situation. Maybe we're seeing the limitations of Attain, although he's pretty much been playing, hasn't played on a dry track, so he's not able to use his skill set the last couple of weeks. So there's a bit of that happening. But yeah, sure. I think at the end of the day, though, they had to get a bit better game plan. They had the better team, and the referees will do what they do in the end, which with G. They would have got the end, but sure, it would have made it closer. I think I agree with what you're saying there. Webster needs to change up the 4-pack. Some guys are bench for the quality of Marata. I'm really questioning whether moving forward can we hold on to him and his output and attack, his output in defense, his work rate, his motor. It's just a lot to be desired, and I'm really looking next year and thinking we need to upgrade that position, or we need to replace someone with a better engine, better output on attack, or just simply push him to the interchange. But even then, I just think we need to move to something a little bit more dynamic than Marata. I think he's been predictable in terms of his play. Defensively, still getting caught out at times. So I think that's someone we need to move on to. Yeah, the restart count was crazy. Sorry, Rodney. I think it might be Rodney. I see with the R there. I'm predicting it's Rodney. Yeah, the 6 again, and it's not like, again, context is always important when you get 6 games. It's not that you get the backloaded 6 games and on papers, it was a fair game. Look, it was 6, 6, 6, 6 each. But it was, when you get 6 games at the end of the game and the game's over, that's always been the case with Warriors games. Refs will add up that penalty count to make it look like it was a fair game. But within the context, in the peak moments, the Bulldogs got a 6 game at the right times that they needed to. The confusing one for me was when Critter got one and Dimitri was kind of wrestling him and standing. I was like, come on, it's fifth tackle. Let them just sort it out. Let them find their feet. It's a bit wet. Do we need a 6 again there? And then on the fifth tackle, 6 again. So it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, it's just really, really, really poor. Do you find the Webby dropping 10 surprising? He must have regretted it once a team member. It's funny because we'll talk about that soon, but I just didn't see that was going to happen. Tamati has always been used as a utility, that guy that can cover every kind of bench role, and then all of a sudden he's a starting 7. And Webby made a comment that he earned it through training. Maybe Webby's had it in the back of his mind that he always wanted Tamati, and he maybe wanted to give Tanner Boyd. I don't know where Tanner Boyd led him down. For me, is it defensively? I don't know. I thought that's why they brought Tanner Boyd, because of the long kicking game, which would have been perfect for the Bulldogs. So I didn't get where Webby's assessment came from to decide to drop Tanner. Now, what does that mean for Tanner moving forward? Now, even Tamati's signed a year on. So everyone that had Tanner as that perfect backup, that's not even looking on the cards now with Tamati. So how does that impact everything, Well, he regretted once Tamati went off because Tamati got HI. He didn't predict a backline injury. So the time that you have a backline injury is the time you need a half on would have been Tamati perfect if Tanner got that injury. So it's, for sure it's come back to bite him, and you could just see there's just no creativity in all of the in the team. I thought we'll struggle to win the tackle. That Burton twin came off an offload where 2 guys couldn't bring the ball. Yeah, that's it. Great point, Inspector. We couldn't wrap the tackler up most of the night. That's why I mean the defense, the energy, like you can tell that they don't have the energy in the tank or in their legs. They're not wrapping the tackler up as tight as they used to, and the offloads are coming at will. They are lacking the energy to bring people down. There's 3 to 4 guys now in the tackle to get people to the ground. And for the majority, it's still pretty good defense, but you just see moments where it's like, man, we're struggling to bring these guys down. They're getting yards at will. There's some internal issues with our tackle tech, but also the energy levels. We have dropped off, and we have to accept that. As defense, yeah. It has been a bit disappointing. I think Vaimonga needs to be given a chance at starting. T-Mac, this is a struggle with. I think for me, Vaimonga's kind of job description this year was probably always to come off the bench. I would like to see that. I just feel like we're burning the candle on both ends eventually. And just maybe that just adventures that we just got to burn the candle on both sides and just put in there whoever we can that can do the job right now. Dimitri probably could. I do question his engine though. Like I said, he gave away the 6th game, whether it was fair or not. There's some moments there that he doesn't have that super engine right now. I see why he goes Jacko forward majority of the time, because he can play the longer minutes. But Webby is pushing players to different levels that they need to be. I'll give you an example. So Fisher Harris, I think Fisher Harris is still doing his regular minutes, but even Fisher Harris and Leota was that kind of 2 props that do 25 minutes to start off, then they get subbed off, they come back on together. I think we're starting to push players out like Jacko Ford being a long form prop to accommodate for, a lack of forwards on the bench or whatever. Aaron Clark got tired towards the end of that first half, when you probably think, man, why don't we could probably do Aaron Clark do 25 minutes and then he come on be another 25 at the end. So it's Webby's kind of pushing the limits of the capabilities of all these players, and you're seeing tired legs in and around that that 30-minute mark and no subs are coming on technically, then you got HIA issues. So those are the things that are starting to pile up. You know what I mean? We sorely missed our injured starters over the weekend. Are we ready to call our time of death yet? Either way. Oh wow. I think we're good. I think I'm just looking for a burst of energy still. I'm looking for something. I think the key is Egan. No matter what, we need to get that man on the field. How Riff's tried to even up the exchange by giving us two. Yeah, it's disgusting. It runs through Wade. No Wade, no win. I think the experience of seeing Kane is a data maybe moving back to where he is comfortable. I agree. I don't think that's worked either. Maybe we'll see a change with Leatoa. If Leatoa's fit, does he come straight back in? I think you go just with centers on center, right? You bring Leatoa in, even if he's kind of been his levels aren't too great. If you can get CNK at the back because the yardage just dried up with Tane a little bit and wet weather, sure, but CNK just doesn't fit right there at centers, and that goes back to my argument with Ash. I don't think he was a center, even with the Kiwis. He wasn't a very good center either. So it kind of goes back that he is an out and out fullback, especially in our system. We played 65 minutes without a playmaker once TMN went off. That's absolutely true. Evening, Sir Bruce. What's happening with our attack? We can't score points. Lack of consistency in the spine. Just personnel. Yeah, like I say, Egan's the key. He sets up a lot of stuff that we don't see. I think the other thing, the TMM going off. I'm sure TMM has had something in his bag to give us. I mean, you saw that little kick in behind on the fourth tackle. He's a bit of an improviser, a bit of an off the cuff. We probably would have seen more points. CHT is just not that guy. And I think CHT, for me, realized and showed that nothing's going to be perfect for everyone. You can't have Wade Egan, you can't have a Mitch Barnett. You need to find ways to create. And I just don't think he's that creative player. He's a system 6 with a bit of running game, a bit of a kicking game. But in those situations, you need someone with a bit more creativity and control. That's where I'm actually looking at maybe going Tanner Boyd and Tamaide to actually finish off the season. And then you go with a CHT as a utility. I just don't see, without Metcalf, I'm just starting to see things that he's just not quite fitting in. And then again, yeah, you can take Wade Egan, all those things. Yeah, you probably say that's probably what it is. It was surprising. Maybe it was. But then again, you got to counter that and say, look, what if we get an amazing kicking game from 10 and we get some repeat sets and we're on the attack a bit more? But that's probably what he was thinking. Just Claire is playing this week, and I guarantee you guys that the Waz will win. The NRL will make sure of it. Do we look at it forward? One of my big concerns was when we were on attacking the goal line. So, for example, there's a set where we were attacking the goal line in the second half. Dimitri was playing the ball, playing lock roll. Whenever he'd tip it on to his lead runner, it was a Jackson Ford. And it was, there's no line breaking, there's no poking the head through. It's a slow play of the ball. Fish, similar, when he plays like a lead run too wide of the ruck, there's no real impact because he's not really that type of player, in my opinion. I think what Webby's trying to do is try to accommodate for the loss of an AFB and use guys in spots, but you need that penetration through to then get the quick play of the ball that you can work off. I just think we don't have enough dynamic props or runners in those spots at the moment to get us the yardage we need. You probably could say Dimitri would be one, but I'm looking through the ranks and thinking TSS is just another worker type. He's not going to break through and pierce through the line. Now, Aaron Clark is that type. It's probably the most dynamic we've had. But I'm looking at other, just looking at in a set and setting up a set, right? You might go in 2023, you go, you hit one with a Mitch Barnett, then you go 2 wide with an AFB that draws in 3 players, quick play the ball, then you hit left short side, out the back for a try with RTS or whoever it is on the wing. That's like, if you notice the Warriors in 2023, it would take them 3 tackles to get over the line because they're clear on what they're, and if those forwards were doing that hit up well, then that would create the quick play of the ball and Egan would just kill off of it. At the moment, we've just got Jacko Fords and Fisher Harris's, and we've got Taylor Style Smith types in there, and it's just not creating that quick play of the ball, that we're not getting that movement that we need, and the defenses are just setting their shapes, getting their numbers, all that type of stuff. Tino, if we could get our type like that, absolutely. There's one glaring issue that's plagued us all year. It's our offense. We struggle to put points on the ball. Maybe look at our offensive coach. Go back to my point. You can't just plug and play different players for your system. Putting Fish in those spots at times isn't going to get the penetration that you need. So again, if you're going to use that style, you need to figure out, well, we need one type of prop that can bend the line and break through. Without Barnett, it kind of, there's no one that's really pushing through that line that physically like that. Tane doing kicks at the start were too small. Wonder why Pompey didn't kick those. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Good point, though. I did see that a little bit short. Greg Alexander saying he's heard Jet will get the call up this week. Are you saying that Jet Cleary is going to get the call up over Tanner Boyd? That is crazy to me. That for me, that's pretty much said Tanner Boyd's out the door. If Jet Cleary is ready to come up now, and they've signed to Mighty, Tanner Boyd's either leaving or he's going to play behind a Jet Cleary. That's interesting. I'm interested to see if that eventuates. That will be a very, very interesting point. I just think it's very interesting. Like, Tanner Boyd has been set up to be the replacement if Metcalf went down. Metcalf went down. I thought they were going to play Tanner Boyd the rest of the season, despite what happened. Because of the long kicking game, because of that pedigree, he's a 70 grade. But now that Tiamati is taking his spot, and if you're telling me that Cleary's going to take his spot, that's almost a vote of no confidence for him, which is crazy because I don't think he's been too way off, but I get it that his defensive things, but it's like you got to realize that Marata's been inside him. He ain't been working too well. There's a lot of things happening. I think it's a little bit out of the blue, but Licker's getting a bit tight. You can just see it in the legs. Yeah, he's killing it with his bombs, man. He is playing a little too long. I wouldn't be against this team, Mickey. I wouldn't be against, if you're gonna do it, get some fresh legs in there. But Webby's shortened his squad, barring Lussick, who's come through. He's shortened that squad a lot, and the volume they're getting through those guys. Look, Kate Wells' impact's dropped off. Lecker's dropped off a bit. There's some tired legs in there. I just need to see some adaptation. Could have put Pumps in the halves or Twine in the halves, or Tane in the halves. Yeah, that was probably another option. Again, I'm not, that's where people are questioning Webby's kind of his tactics and his decision making. But yeah. Now that the New South Wales team has won the minor premiership, it is time to promote some of these young boys to give us a bit more punch. Would they even consider? But Ted, that's not a bad idea, man. I think the squad is a little bit on its legs. You're struggling to put points, especially when in the red zone. We need more variety. Grubber, set plays, repeat set as minimum. The high kick shouldn't be. This is my point. MP Norpid, I think it might be Norpid. We are. When I see CHT going for that crossfield kick, that ain't it. That ain't it. We need to set up some straight. I know he's only got C&K there, but he has Tane there. He can get Tane involved in the attack too. That's when, he's not the creative player that I might have thought he was. He's a system half. We'll go through the motions, but we need some creativity. And I'm thinking even Tane should have got on the ball more once TMM went out. But it is what it is. I think that maybe the 8 this year says maybe the reason we were fourth so long is because teams like the Panthers were so bad. Could be. Then again, Inspector, I don't think we should take away from what we've done. If you win 12 to 13 games and that gets you in the 8, you've earned your way. It doesn't matter when or how you got them. At the end of the day, though, we will get knocked out of the finals. That will be evident. That's how far you make it up the thing is how good you are. We get knocked out second week or first round. That reflects who we were or who we are. Maybe not with all the injury. If we had an injury-free season, Barnett, Metcalf there, well, we might be punching out. We might be in a preliminary. But maybe now with everyone out, we're looking at first week knocked out or second week we get knocked out. You know what I mean? And we're going to stay in there and stay in the top 8. Unity, as you mentioned there. I think Webby's still in charge of the attack. Problem I have with the attack is that it still needs to evolve at times. It needs to have a variety to it. I think in the shapes that Webby, if you looked at the Bulldogs shape, they'll run a massive sweep play from right to left, and they'll catch a chink in that line within that shape. You saw most of the tries they built from all the way from the right sideline to the left sideline. So that's part of their, but we need stuff like that where we do we can mix it up a bit more. Maybe the team's just fallen into patterns that suit the halfbacks. I mean, Sean, he could do double leads. He could do all sorts. Sean could do a multitude of play styles. They've almost gone, like I said, they haven't gone back to double leads all year. Maybe that's because of the quality of the halfbacks or the halves. Maybe that's why the attack has lost its venom. But maybe the attack is built around a guy who can call a game, and that's where I think Sean could call a game. Maybe Metcalf and Boyd and the like can't call a game to that level. But anyway, things have changed, but you got to keep evolving and moving as well. Exactly, Will. Exactly. Mackie, you might not be wrong there, man. If he does come and we win, I'm coming straight back to you, bro. You call this. It is. So let me catch up on these comments. It could be. Compassionate grounds. We'll have to wait and see. I think this too. Yeah, I've always. Well, I was reading Michael Burgess's article in the Herald, and he was saying that, well, the plan was still to have Jet in the team by 27. So Jet Cleary's still a year away, I'd say. I think so. I think they do, Unity. I really do think they do. Yeah, well, I think we have to. I think you fall to the in the system if you fall to the bomb because you're either in a pattern of trying to get your defensive line to defend, and it's a position based offense. Work our way up the field with our back 5, get over the 50-meter line, then kick a high sitting bomb with a kick chase that catches the fullback or wingers at the 10-meter mark. From that position, the goal is to keep them in their 40, and then they kick it and it gets to your 20, then you catch it at the 30, and then you start building your set, and before you know it, you can within 2 to 3 sets, you're on their goal line and you're setting up a structured try and you get over. That's kind of the game plan. Well, when you got a Burton that can kick on the third and just kill that plan, you got to still, you can go kick for kick with them or try to, but they always going to outdo that kicking range. So, what is your plan B? How can you nullify that? Another option might be grubbers along the ground, find grass. Maybe finding grass turns them around. There's other ways you don't have to go to the bomb all the time. You can find grubber in behind. You can die with the ball on the fifth tackle around the 20-meter mark or something like that from an attacking play. That can get you, slow the game down. You sit on the ball for a little while, then you give the hander, and then you set your defensive line that way. So there's different ways you can do it, if you know what I mean. Tay's saying, my honest opinion was that Tanner was rested for this game. He wouldn't get injured. Webby knows Cicada, Serraldo's mindset. Yeah, I think you got a good point there. If some of the Cup boys get promoted, they will fall into the system where their talents get wasted with the system we are running. It's hard to say. Unity. On a positive note, I think the Warriors are the only team to have a chant. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's plenty. I think a lot of, the Raiders do their chant. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Norpeter, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. Welcome in, Tans and Dom. How can you become a membership? So I'm not sure if I can do it on the app on the phone, but usually by the Wires Up TV icon, where you usually press subscribe, it says join. When you click that join, it connects you to. But you're already a member. That's how you got in here, so you should be fine. So don't worry about it. Clark used to be half of the was under 20s for reruns. Not surprised. Yeah, it's good to see a bit of freedom. All good, all good. We don't have the cattle. I was noticeable watching games over the weekend. None of our backs, except maybe RTS, would be in the Bulldogs team. Yeah, the cattle, again, it just goes back to that depth and level. And then even me personally, like, I think it's time to upgrade the outside backs. And I've heard rumors that we are going to sign an outside back outside of the. We're going to look for something outside of the club, not through development. So that's where it's gonna happen. So I think that's where we are going to recruit a little bit this off season. Thank you, Unity, and whoever got that membership, give them some love. The Liquor Breakers knows on the weekend where I thought, yeah, it looked like it, man. It looked like I was talking with Hans and that on the group call. I forgot who's the guy from the Eels. Someone type in the chat for me. The guy from the Eels that that they had the broken nose. I forgot his name. Oh, sorry, Norpid. Oh man, don't worry about the super chat too much. Okay, so let me just figure this out. How do we get him on? He hasn't got his desktop or something like that. If you could sign in on your YouTube to just like a browser, like your Google Chrome, can you sign into your YouTube that way? If you can do it that way, I'm sure you could probably hit the join button. But bro, appreciate the supers. Let's get you signed up somehow. But thank you very much, man. But we'll get you on the members. I didn't realize you were doing super chats to get into this to hear. My apologies. So yeah, usually you go YouTube, type in Wires Up TV. You go to click on the Wires Up TV channel page. Where it says subscribe, because you've subscribed obviously, I think you'll hit join, and then you can choose which package you want. There's a reserve grader and first grader, so you can choose either one of those, and then they'll hopefully get you in there. Oh, that's another way. Thank you, Jez. Go through click on the channel name, go to membership tab, and go from there. See if that works. What Jazz just shared. See if that works too. Even though we're going through some tough times at the moment and we aren't getting the wins at the moment, the Warriors have been my team since of course, man. We never lose faith. We're addicted to this stuff. We love this club. Same as me, Ted. I tried my best. I've tried to run away from this club actually, but it keeps bringing me back. I'm just that connected to it. And just want to see the team succeed. And we are succeeding. We're being successful. We're being, but we want to ultimately get that premiership. But there's a bit of work to do. But I think that's where I think we will get there. Yeah, Khan Pereira is actually, I think, on the cards, or someone of that ilk. Yeah, those are the types of wingers that we are, and outside backs that other club, I think, Blake Ferguson. Yeah, it looked very much like Blake Ferguson. There you go, Norput. See if that works, bro. Just said join on the phone, click channel name, and then click membership. So I need to tell people you can go this way. Go through channel name and click membership. Okay. See how that goes. Amen. Yeah. Carl, bang on, man. And I know you've been a faithful member as well. Without Barnett, Packer is no leader. So we were saying Fisher Harris was a waste of money. Is that what it is? Maybe. Are we keeping the faith? We are trying to, Randall, man. We really are. And as Jay says, we are suckers for that punishment, 100%. Okay, guys, just want to transition now to Mighty extending a year. This will hurt a lot of the people that don't like Tamaiti, and there's a big anti-Tamaiti fan club. I'm not one of them. I appreciated his work, and he's accepted his role as a utility, and surprisingly now he's above Tanner Boyd. We'll have to find out more about that. It did seem surprising that Webby would sacrifice that, but we didn't get to see it, unfortunately. In that 20 minutes, we didn't have hardly any ball. As soon as Burton kicked that 40-20, we almost sat for 10, 15 minutes on our goal line, and that's when he got knocked out. So we didn't get to see what could have been. But he's a good player. He's not a great player. He's not a Sean Johnson. He's not of that ilk. He's not he's obviously below Metcalf from the club's view. So he's a second string halfback who plays a bit of utility, although I don't think it's like top level. I will definitely, there's other players that could probably do that role better, in my opinion. But for whatever it is, he's been utility, and he's been part of the teams that have won games. And he's done his thing. Now, probably if Metcalf didn't go down injured, and I suppose Tanner Boyd must be on the move, then that means that he's the bridge between Metcalf and Jet Cleary, if that's true. So I see why they've signed him for another season. It gives them another bit of depth. If you have another injury, he can come in. The market must be saying there isn't other halves that are out there. Tanner Boyd isn't giving them the vote of confidence that Webby wants. Maybe Tamaiti is his guy. He's always kept Tamaiti in and around the team. Even this year he went with Metcalf and CHT. He found a way to get Tamaiti on the utility. So Webby likes him, despite many of the fans not liking him. But we'll have to wait and see if he comes back from this week off. Does Tanner then get dropped and he's back? And then do we see him running as the 7 into the finals? That will give you an idea of how things would look. Now, I actually enjoyed him with Tanner at 6 against the Dolphins. They manufactured a win that, nearly manufactured a win. That would have been, I think, a good one to get them over the line, which would have helped to cement top 8 at least. So I'm interested in seeing how that goes. But Webby's got him as a starting 7, so we'll see how that goes. But a lot of people won't I suppose, he's a very divisive player. Some people hate him, some people love him. But it is what it is. But let's see what the chat thinks about that. You booking those grand final tickets? Do it. Fish needs someone to go with him in the middle, Cluckers, but no one else. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. Sure. TMN won't move away from Tauro, the bush, the ocean, everything. Yeah. He must be loving the content. Do you think Clark has dropped off? Fatigue sitting in since the Titans game he hasn't stood out. I noticed this. I noticed the try to Tuala on the right hand side. He was just a bit tired through the middle, and wasn't moving his feet. I think Webby's pushing him. For me, probably too much. I mean, when you go with a Lussick and then a Healy, we used to interchange Tohu for Walker, which was like for like. He's kind of got no like for likes replacement at the moment, barring a Dimitri. So I think he's getting a bit tired. I think his performances are dropping off. And that's no fault of his own. He's been one of our best. I'll put him up there in the Simon Mannering medal winner potentially, in that range. So I'm not taking anything away from him. I just think his battery and his energies are dropping a bit. So, well, that's something we need to be mindful of. Can Teo Piki play half? I think he can. I'm not sure whether Webby will go with him half. Webby loves this is the great balance that Metcalf had. He had very good attacking output, but he also had very good defensive output. And I think that's probably why he's gone with Tamides, because Tamides' defensive output is quite good. He's one of those hard workers. If you look at Tamide off the kick, so CHT does the kick, he always comes in to take that first hit up. He'll come in and do the physical work. He's played a lot of utility or hooker, so he knows how to tackle in the middle as well. So it gives Webby a little bit of cover to help out defensively. So I can see why Webby's gone with Tamide. But Tane, I just don't think he can do that role. You know what I mean? But appreciate that unity. Appreciate that. Yep. There it is. If it was my decision, I'd have TM at 6, Boyd at 7, CHT at 14th for the rest of the season. I would agree with that, actually. I'd expect a Metcalf extension. Foxwort saying the Bunnies are looking at him. Yeah, I think they'll put the money down for Metcalf. 4 years, 3 years, I'd say, with option for 4, something like that. I'd say they will go for that. Another roller coaster might get angry and it falls off every now and then, but man, I'm always on that ride. We are. I don't think so, Mackie. I think it's more of a backup. I think. Look, this could be the biggest heel turn, right? Heel turn could be Metcalf leaves at the end of the season. Wow. Tamides is there half for next season. But the plan is to blood in Jet Clary, and then Jet Clary 2027 is your halfback moving forward. That could be one of the greatest heel turns, babyface turns of all time. I think they'll try and lock up Metcalf long term. But I think Tamide is purely there because it's a 1-year extension. There's no long-term vision for Tamide. I think it's just purely, we love what you're doing. I'll use you in that utility role when I need you. You'll play a bit of cup. When everyone's fully fit, then you'll be purely a backup. That's how I see what Tamide has been asked to do. And he's fine with it from what I can see. SJ was 100% effective in pride, which is why I think as individual, SJ was superior 7 to Heinz Cleary. He could turn a game by himself with the length of the field try. He was pure X Factor. Coming back from a second ACL when we Metcalf is right off for the next season. Yeah, he won't be back till April, I'd say. April or May. And so, yeah, you're looking at actually good point to Mighty. It might be that starting half end of next year. Maybe that's why Webby was looking at that. Yeah, I just don't know what that means for Tanner Boyd. You know what I mean? I thought Tanner Boyd was going to be their ideal backup, but it seems as though his defensive output has really let him down. That could be tempting too. Yeah, that is a great point, Jez. Well, that Metcalf call from Bennett, knock on the door and say, "Hey, mate, I'm going to turn you into the next," and he might go for it. It's all family based. I'm sure he loves the club, but let's see what happens. Dom, we're in tear. So wheels, when you go for you change your wheels have done too many Ks. You got to get a new wheel alignment and new wheels. I think that's kind of what's happening at the moment. Right, they're roller coaster, man. Absolutely. Maybe CHT moving towards second row, TMM and 10. I think so. My thing with, and I know this is kind of a different. So the 2023 model, which was quite good, is that you had Tor who has that ball playing lock and solid defense, but then you had Dill Walker's that was almost a perfect replacement. Perfect. That would almost, that interchange was, it kept that attacking roll on so powerful. We've gone against that to more of just a direct runner, lock instead of Aaron Clark. And Dimitrik's kind of trying to do the ball playing role, but he's not really fully confident, and you can tell. So we've lost a bit of that. CHT would probably shore up that middle a bit. See, I thought Tamari was going to be more of that ball playing lock, being a first receiver coming on the field. But every time he's come on, there's been an outside back injury. I think for the last 10 or 12 weeks, he hasn't been in that ball playing lock role at all. So we haven't seen that impact from an attacking standpoint. CHT might be a very good one. I do think it's a bit odd. Webby has such confidence in some players, but boy got a couple games and dropped. I think that is surprising. I think that is surprising, especially at this time of year. Need to take age into consideration. It's better for most part to bank on the younger halves of the future. Mets over TMM is a starting 7. Yeah. Well, that's another thing, Jez. You're thinking Perth are coming in soon, right? In 27. They're looking for a halfback. We need, they'll probably pay 1.2 mil for a half because they got to travel to Perth. So there's a big payday for one of those halves. Money talks. So you got to almost lock down Metcalf right now and bank on the fact that he can develop more. That type of thing. But there's halves coming, there's 2. I think there's even PNG coming 28. So we got to be real careful. That's a good point. Yeah, I get what people's think about Fish. That's absolutely. Also, why are we worried about boys' defense? Jimmy Maloney was an absolute turnstile. Hey, Latino, my friend. Welcome in, man. How you feeling after the weekend? You guys are on a bit of a tear for a little bit. Then I saw the Dragons pipped you. But good to see you, man. Welcome in, bro. Yeah, welcome in, my man. You actually saw a post-op picture from Luke, like Barney did. Hopefully there's no complication. I don't think there would be. CHT, yeah, he really would be in that utility role. Regarding leadership, don't even expect to fully turn an introvert into an extrovert. Good little bit of philosophy there from Jazz. I'm a bit behind the stream. Sorry if it's been mentioned, but also interesting that Boyd played 6 in Cup on the weekend. They kept law. Then now you're talking. Maybe Ivan's called up Webby and said, "Hey, I want to take my son back unless you play him at 7." So maybe he's coming in this week. That is actually a very good call, Law. TMM, I reckon. Oh, that's wild pigs. The overseas taste. Probably, Bruce. I can see that. I can see that. I can absolutely see that. I noticed there's usually momentum when CNK and RTS run one after the other, the units when they play together. You're right about that. I just think the output from Tane when he's actually an attacking fullback with a good halfback, he's quite good. But you didn't see that because we didn't have any ball, so I can kind of see where that's coming from. Ivan called Webby and said his team needs more chin. Very nice. You haven't got the pack at the moment for any half to shine. Yeah, and that's why I said CHT isn't creative, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, there's nothing. They play the ball on the goal line is so slow. Again, the ball playing role is quite unsure. We need an Egan at the moment to really direct those halves around. You can see how important he is. So that's another reason why I think we're struggling. You know what I mean? What big change do you think Webby makes tomorrow? I think the biggest change might be seeing K to fullback. I think we might see that change. If he can get Leotoa in, I think he might do that. Trying to think of another big one. Jet Cleary would be the all-time biggest change, wouldn't it? If Jet Cleary got in there, that would be like, whoa. Okay, Town Boyd, you're definitely out the back. You're out the door. Thank you for your services. And we're moving into the Jet Cleary era. That would be crazy. He's got that. Ivan was at the New South Wales Cup game. Must be a fair bit of pressure to live up to the pedigree that his father and brother have set. Probably. Up the Wahine. Yeah, sorry we haven't talked about the Wahine. Good call, Jose. Wahine, man, what a performance from them. That 4-pack is starting to round out really good. I'm starting to see the value of Curtin. Curtin off of good ball now is starting to hit his straps with the kicking game. The whole team's starting to click. They're getting to their spots better. Their attack's looking a bit sharper. Tyra Wetiri, I think it is. Wicked on the wing. I'm not sure what's happened to Michaela Break. I didn't want to speculate. It said family, personal reasons. So for whatever that, I'm not sure if it's family or whatever it may be that's happening in her personal life. But Wetiri has been doing a job. Taki Moana is still doing really well. Yeah, man, we're rounding out Ivana Lauatiti, killing it. That was a great performance from the girls. Absolutely killed it. Yeah, but I'm not sure what happened to Bunty, to be honest, but I think he's on his way out. It's pretty evident that the club we're moving in a new direction, and yeah, that was real cool to see. Still only a year or two away from winning a premiership. Could be, man. Could be. I just need to see a few more. Yeah, I need to see more for the things. She is Team Mackie. Well, I think they went with Lussick, obviously, to start, and they went with Healy off the bench. So they went, Laban? No, not Laban. Why I keep thinking Laban's there. Tanisdale, Smith, and Dimitrik. And who was the other one? I forgot already. Yeah. Oh, was Eddie on the? Was Eddie actually on the bench? I missed that. I was trying to think of who the fourth interchange was. Healy, Dimitrik, Tanisdale, Smith. It must have been another forward. Yeah, man. It really was. So it was Edie, it was Lusick. Oh, no, sorry. Healy, Dimitrik, Halasima. That's right. Sorry. Used to Halasima starting. So Halasima and Tennisdale Smith. So once they went with that extra 14, it was pretty much no call for EIT, which I'd like to see EIT come through. I really would. Yeah, 18th May. Oh, gotta go for another 4 minutes, guys. If you got any more questions or comments, let chuck those in. Appreciate 92 of you guys watching in total. We thank everyone that's come on. Can you please hit that like? Like to get to a minimum of 50, but it can get up to 100. Help us get there. It helps the algorithm. And if you're new to, give us a subscribe. We're on the road to 3K. I think we're at 2912 maybe. So another 88 to go. If you can help us get there before the end of the regular season, I'd love to go into the playoffs with 3K. Appreciate that. And Pucky's been outstanding. She set up tucking more in a bed to center the game, male of female. Yeah, she's been awesome. Male or female. I see what you're saying. Aaron. Yeah. But yeah, man. I'm trying to think of other things that I had to talk about. That was mainly it. I just thought, Adam G. Yeah, he was rubbish, man. He has been rubbish. But we have ourselves to blame. Dallon's era, the play of the ball, Roger knock on. There's a lot of effort areas that just been dropping off poorly, and that's where for me, Dallon's just, it's not just about the jamming in; it's about those things too that add up. And it's like, oh no, it's time to move into a more consistent winger type that has a bit more explosiveness, has a bit more edge, can offer us a bit more. Because you look at wingers and how important. Look what Xavier Coates can do. That's adding value. Dal, love him. He's been great for us, but he's copping it on the chin literally every time. He's doing those WWE ones where they check the face and they check for blood and they start throwing punches, and it's just getting a bit hoo-ha for me right now. It might be time to move in a new direction. I was actually looked at this the first time to me and I was like, nah, it's not double movement. He just progress. But he actually turns and drags the ball over the line. I actually agreed that it was a double movement now that I've looked at it. The Shepard penalty was dumb. That was the penalty for Fish pushing Critter off the ball was dumb as well. It's like just a referee that just has no control. You know what I mean? T-Mac saying CNK, Tane at wing, Pompey, Halasima, RTS, Boyd, and Jet. That's crazy. That's a crazy backline, T-Mac. I could see that, though, because you get the carries from Halasima out of yardage. That could be pretty cool. Tuo Picky, get a bit of finishing from him. CNK, yardage, Pompey, RTS, Boyd, and Jet. That'd be crazy. The Critter try was gangster right past Pompey and someone else. Can't remember. Yeah, he did well. Capewell. Clark, Capewell. EIT. Wow. Vaimonga and Egan Fisher Harris. I like your lineups, T-Mac. Bench Healy, New Cordy, Ford, Ali. That could work too. That's actually not a bad idea. Yes, you got a blood on the EIT. Yes, you got to push Vaimonga up. But I see that bench as being quite stable. T-Mac, got to get you in that and talking with Webby, man. Give him some inspiration. You know what I mean? Dallin gone. I just think it's time to move in a new direction. A new direction, personally. But guys, thank you for your time. I'm going to cut that off there. Appreciate you guys. I think I've covered mostly everything. We'll get a lot of answers tomorrow night. Just lastly, it's important that we get this win. We've had 3 straight losses. And not all of it's on the referees. A lot of it's self-inflicted. We are getting tired. We are running out of legs. T-Mac, you might be right. We need to freshen up that whole roster. Webby tried some changes, and you can say they've worked and they haven't. Tanner Boyd looks on the outer. Jet Cleary is coming on. I think the key, though, is we need to get this dub against the Dragons. Dragons are typically difficult to play against. Flanagan has a way against us as well, sort of like a Des Hasler. Although I think we beat the Dragons at the Gong, I think, did we? Or I can't remember. Either way, we need to get this dub to secure that top 8. 13 wins, I think, gets you into the top 8. But we have to work on that. So we'll see what the team list is like tomorrow. Get a better call and understanding of what's going to happen. But appreciate you guys' time as always. Thank you for coming through. We'll be back tomorrow night. Jump on all you can eat, 8 p.m. same time. Got watch along set for Friday as well, so come along to that. I'll check in with Uncle Josh as well for Wednesday night. We usually record Wednesday night, drop on Thursday. So a bit of content coming through, but appreciate everyone. Take it easy. Fair calls. Oh, when the wires go marching in. Absolutely, man. All good, Jazz. Appreciate you. Thank you to all our channel members. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Come through. And yeah, we'll have a good chat there. Just quickly shout out to Norput again with these super chats. Unity with the gifted Wise Up membership. Whoever got that, say thank you or jump in the chat next time. Hopefully, Norput, you've sorted that out. Message me on Instagram if you get trouble. But what Jazz was saying, follow that. Latino, great man from the ET stand, showing his love, his membership. Show love to our man Latino, and guys always go show love to ET and Boulder and those guys. Who knows? We might be having a finals matchup with Boulder. Which he said to me that he wants to do that combined 17 again and prove his point. So I'm not looking forward to that. I don't want to see these guys in the finals if I can avoid it. But anyway, have a good night. We'll catch you guys later. See you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Up the wires as always. Stay safe. Peace out.